So today, it is a review for the inequalities quiz, which is tomorrow. Inequality means not equal. So if I give you like a plus 7 is greater than 8, that's not equal to 8, it's greater than. Go ahead, write that one down, solve it. It should be easy. I'm trying to make it easy. Get your brain warmed up after a weekend. This is so easy, even Devin can do it. I know, it's not his real name, so I can say it on the tape. I'm drawing a negative underneath each of them, and hopefully you did too. Hey, Sparky, right now, this. I don't care. Pencil, something to write with, that's all you need. A pencil in your folder? That's where you put pencils? Okay, fine. I didn't want to say his real name on the video. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to A is greater than 8 minus 7 is 1. There you go. Raise your hand if you had that one right. Oh, what's wrong? Is there any questions? You confuzzled? Did you get that I did the opposite of plus 7? I did minus 7. I did it to both sides. 8 minus 7 is 1. This sign just goes straight down. That's all there is to it. Now, if I was going to graph it, I'd just put a circle on the 1, and I'd say to the right, because see how the pointy end points to the right? But do you remember me saying that sometimes doesn't work? It's if the problem says like this. Would you please rewrite this as the other way around and put the A first? But be careful with the sign. Remember, the alligator likes to eat. And you got to figure out if you're going to put the A first. Then I hope you switched it around so that the alligator's eating the A in either case. Do you get then that I wrote A is bigger than 3? You can't keep the sign the same, otherwise the alligator's eating a different thing. All right. Next, here's a typical question from yesterday, and let's see if anybody remembers what happens when we divide both sides. Change sign. Why are you saying change sign? Okay, I'm in Friday. Dividing by what? A negative. And if we divide by negative 3, that does something special. Woot, woot, woot. Yes, it set off the change of sign alarm. Less than negative 3. All right, I know, that's annoying, but it'll help you remember it because that's a big deal on the test because kids always miss that. If you say don't ever, then that means I have to do it again this hour. Okay, so anyway, this one has a switch because I divided by a negative. Here's a common mistake. Kids will say, well, there's a negative in the problem, so I switched the sign. No, I didn't say whenever there's a negative. I said if you divide by a negative. Okay, so in this problem here, there's a negative, but you are not going to switch the sign. Go ahead, solve this one, because you are not dividing by a negative. I'll pause for a second while you give this one a try. Okay, did you say, it's tough because you're going, it's adding, but yet it's a minus. Well, it's a minus 1, so you should have added 1 to get rid of it. How many of you chose wisely and did it that way? Okay, good job. Then you should have said n is greater than 9. Notice the sign did not switch, even though there was a negative in the problem. The question is, did you divide by a negative or multiply by a negative? It's only multiplying and dividing by a negative that causes the sign to switch. So one more where the sign will switch. Try that one, and then on the test, there's going to be a little tiny extra half a point for graphing it right. It's so easy to graph them, I'm not going to make it a ton of points. It's a good question. It's a less than or equal. It's a sign that means both. It means it's okay if it's less or it's equal. It's kind of like this. Let's say that I said I specialize in kids that are 2-year-olds, but I can also do 3-year-olds. Like, let's say that I'm like a daycare or something. I'll do 2 and 3-year-olds. So then I could say greater than or equal to 2. 'Cause 2 is okay or older than 2 is okay. I think you count as a 3-year-old then. All right, so I'm going to go minus 2. Minus 2, draw the line. Did you say, notice I did not multiply or divide by a negative. I subtracted 2. 9 minus 2 is 7. I did not multiply by negative, so I do not switch the sign yet. But on that last step, I am going to divide both sides by what? Negative 7. And that will cause the sign to switch. Woot, woot. It went off. Too late. Can't stop me. And there it is. Sign went off because the sign change went off, and the siren is just an annoying way to remind you about that. I know, it's going to push you right over the edge. Okay, well, I'm pretty much done. There we go. So then your quiz tomorrow is just like that. Okay, so this will be an easy one, and it's one last chance to get a good grade in the grade book. I know some of you guys are looking at your grade going, it's not as good as it used to be because your last one didn't work so well. Need help? But I encourage you to study. Sure, I'm just acting like you needed help. So, long story short, that is a review of inequalities and how to graph. Oh, wait a minute. I never graphed this one. So if I graph this, here's negative 1. And then I circle this and I go like this. And what small mistake did I just make on this problem? I'm really close. I didn't shade it because it says or equal. That means it could be negative 1, so I have to shade that in. All right, that's all I have for you for today.